This is an ordinary stretch of Liberian road. This is an ordinary Lutheran pastor. Pastor John Sumo is like a lot of ordinary Lutheran pastors, in fact. He grew up in the church and loved it from an early age. He worked hard, graduated seminary, and received a call to serve his cherished boyhood parish. He serves a parish with 3 locations called preaching points, so far away from each other that it takes hours on foot just to reach them. And being an ordinary pastor in Liberia often means taking a salary so small that you can't support your family without operating a small farm or a side business of some sort. He's an ordinary Liberian, too. His life and studies were placed on hold during the country's brutal civil war in the 90s and early 2000s. He witnessed unspeakable horrors, like the aftermath of one of the war's notorious chapters, the massacre of people sheltered inside St. Peter's Lutheran Church. And he wants nothing more than to see his country prosper in peace and brotherhood now that his nightmare is in the rearview mirror. But it was on this very ordinary stretch of Liberian road, rutted and dusty, that a seemingly ordinary accident turned Pastor Sumo's story extraordinary.
I just saw this truck hit me when I was on my way moving. I just saw this truck hit me and push me off the road.
On his way from town to a church meeting in nearby Fizibu, Pastor Sumo was basically run over by a truck, his leg badly smashed. He had no way of knowing at the time, but it would be the last time that he would see his home congregation, and that was nearly 3 years ago.
During the surgery, they had opened out to get the bone together and then put this iron in to have it in position for heating. Okay, but then, like I said, when the X-ray, when I saw the X-ray the following day, I was concerned about the little space I saw between the bone. All right, I said, but why should this happen like this? If this is happening, or if this has been connected, if this has been put together before the iron goes in there, it will take shape, in a shorter time. But the doctor convinced me that, oh yeah, it will heal.
But that was merely the first of 4 surgeries, some to control infections, but none successful in getting him walking again. Now he has run out of surgical options in Liberia and is a virtual shut-in. He had come so far to make it through his studies and return to his boyhood home, only to lose it all again so quickly and senselessly.
Well, I really felt somehow encouraged in the sense that I wanted to give back to the town where I come from, with that congregation being down for some time. But again, I thought of Jesus' word when he said, the prophet is not respected in his womb. But then I took that challenge and I went.
Longtime Lutheran missionary Betty McCrandle sent word ahead that John Sumo was coming home.
Yeah, Betty used to communicate with them and say, oh, one of your sons is coming back to serve here as pastor. People who were not born or who were not groomed up when I left, they never thought of me. So, but then from their parents' introduction or from their connection with the parents who knew me, so they say, he's the one. So, but then they send my pictures are here. So better show them my picture and then say, oh yeah. And so people who knew me before the war say, oh, thank God. Yeah. But there were a lot of boys or girls or children who I know they were very young when I left or when I was born, could not know me.
His corner of Liberia, the jungles of the upper northwest, was one of the few places that saw extended fighting throughout the long war. Not only was Pastor Sumo piecing back together a church building riddled with bullet holes, he was preaching about healing to a congregation that had been thrown into the evils of war.
Some of my themes was like, don't look at the back. Don't look in the past to dig into old wounds, but rebuild by the future, developments. There were a lot of enemies. Oh yes, there were a lot of enemies. For that, even some of the now evangelists I have, some of them were fighting, but then later on they accepted Christ and now they are evangelists.
The Bible brims with hopeful stories of people made whole, whether one at a time or in entire congregations, and often by seemingly mundane gestures. The Messenger's Feet is a campaign to dramatically change Pastor Sumo's life and the life of his parish by making him whole again. At the same time, we seek to lift up Lutheran pastors across Liberia by creating a fund that parishes can go to develop income-generating projects to support their clergy. And you can help with the most mundane of gestures. Give an amount, large or small, and share Pastor Sumo's story with your friends on Facebook or via email or just during coffee hour.
I'm hopeful because there's life after troubled times, and I can still believe with the help of others, with the counsel, with the with the support of other friends, I can still trust that there's hope somewhere.
To transport Pastor Sumo out of Liberia and fix his leg once and for all is the kind of thing that only people working together can accomplish.
I know that the Lord will show the way, all right? Because He has never let anyone down before, all right? Though I may not feel it now, but He is there through others. God has used human beings in the past to reach out to people, so He can still use human beings in this modern world, in this 21st century, to reach to people.